The controversy still brewing over freshman Democratic Congresswoman Ilhan Omar and her comments about 9/11.
Now, a number of 2020 Democrat hopefuls coming to her defense, including Jay Inslee, Elizabeth Warren, and Bernie Sanders, who praised her, quote, strength and courage.
The president responded to Omar's comments with a video and the promise we will never forget.
Here to react is media reporter for The Hill and radio talk show host on WOR, Joe Concha. Joe, so, you know, it started with Ilhan Omar saying some people did something. She's doubled down on this on Twitter. How are people reacting to this?
Doubled down also, Pete, in terms of evoking President George W. Bush at the time and comparing her words, which were dismissive and flippant, with George W. Bush just 3 days after 9/11 with a megaphone in his hand. We all remember it, saying the people that did this, we're going to hear from all of them soon. There is zero comparison on that. And then you have Ocasio-Cortez, the congresswoman from New York's 14th district, actually going after Dan Crenshaw, questioning his patriotism because he doesn't allegedly support a bill in Congress around 9/11. You know about this, Pete, because you were in war. He went to Afghanistan,
yes,
lost his eye in combat, and Ocasio-Cortez, who has nothing to do with this, goes after him. And as for Omar, you know, this is on Nancy Pelosi to a certain extent. Omar is still on committees. If Nancy Pelosi wants to get a hold of the freshman woman in her party, that, let's face it, they're going to be a face of the 2020 election just as much as anybody else. If you're Donald Trump or any Republican, you're going to exploit that. You need to take her off committees and do more than what she said about Ocasio-Cortez, where she said, while there are people who have a large number of Twitter followers, what's important is that we have a large number of votes on the House floor. No, Nancy, you have to talk to these people and say, you are hurting us. You need to control yourselves. But with Twitter, guys, that's the problem. You can't control yourself because there is no filters, no one to tell you to stop when you start using those thumbs.
You're right.
Joe, we actually have a tweet from AOC, who has been one of the fiercest defenders of Representative Omar, saying members of Congress have a duty to respond to the president's explicit attack today. Congresswoman Omar's life is in danger. For our colleagues to be silent is to be complicit in this outright dangerous targeting of a member of Congress. We must speak out. And then, in quotes, first they came. What do you make of that?
I think that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and I feel like she's been in office for 3 years. It's only been 3 months, believe it or not. She is accomplished at playing the victim like nothing I have ever seen, accomplished at complaining. But when it comes to execution, whether it be the new Green Deal, where she said, hey, we're going to have blood in our hands unless we do something about climate change. Oh, well, maybe somebody should put together a proposal called the Green New Deal and see how many votes it gets, say, in the Senate, where it got 0 from Democrats. She's horrible at execution. In New York here, Amazon's no longer coming with 150,000 jobs and $30 billion in revenue. So she's done nothing but bad things so far. And in these situations, it's always she evokes gender, she evokes color. And last check, Concha is Latino. So let's not even go there in terms of that card. And all she does is say anytime she's attacked, don't attack us. We're getting death threats. This is horrible, but doesn't address the core issue, which is were Ilhan Omar's comments wrong and disrespectful? Yes, they were. Omar should apologize instead. As you said, she's doubling down, and this is just going to continue to be a headache for Nancy Pelosi.
I went to Twitter this morning. Trending is hashtag I stand with Omar or I stand with Ilhan. It was trending on Twitter, but some Democrats, just a few, are condemning these 9/11 comments. Listen.
Okay.
This is insensitive and it's offensive. On 9/11, radical terrorists attacked us. New York City lost thousands of people.
No one should refer to what happened on 9/11 with terrorist attacks that killed thousands of Americans as something by some people.
So, Joe, this wasn't a misstatement. This was a statement of her view. Does this change any time soon?
Pete, politicizing 9/11 has 0 upside. And I host a radio show in New York. We took calls on this for the last 2 days. People are angry about this. There is 0 upside in doing this. She should apologize. She won't, because that's not in the DNA of an Omar or Ocasio-Cortez. It's tripling down and making the situation much worse.
Thanks, Joe. It seems like we're in a world now where it's okay to criticize statements by certain politicians and not others. Really appreciate your input.
Here we are, all those years later, and we're literally litigating whether we dismiss 9/11.
I know. It's crazy stuff.
All right, we got more.